I'm the ASMR psychologist. Welcome to Intriguing Psychology Experiments. Okay, today's article is about whether having close friends boosts our self-esteem. And it comes from the American Psychological Association and was published on September the 26th this year. Okay, so the question: does having close friends boost self-esteem, or does having high self-esteem influence the quality of your friendships? Both, according to a meta-analysis of more than 2 decades of research. For the first time, we have a systematic answer to a key question in the field of self-esteem research: whether and to what extent a person's social relationships influence his or her self-esteem development, and vice versa, and at what ages, said study author Michelle Harris, PhD at the University of Texas, Austin. The answer to what age groups is across the lifespan. The research was published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Harris and her co-authors analysed 52 studies involving more than 47,000 participants, 54% of which were female, looking at either the effect of self-esteem on social relationships over time or the reverse effect. The studies were all published between 1992 and 2016 and included multiple countries, including the United States, Switzerland, Germany, Australia, Belgium, Canada, Finland, Greece, Russia, and Sweden. Samples ranged from early childhood to late adulthood. The authors found that positive social relationships, social support, and social acceptance help shape the development of self-esteem in people across time, across ages of 4 to 76. The authors also found a significant effect in the reverse direction. While earlier research has yielded inconsistent findings, the meta-analysis supports the classic and contemporary theories of the influence of self-esteem on social connections and the influence of social connections on self-esteem, according to Harris. The findings were the same after accounting for gender and ethnicity. The reciprocal link between self-esteem and social relationships implies that the effects of a positive feedback loop accumulate over time and could be substantial as people go through life. The authors discuss the idea that positive relationships with parents may cultivate self-esteem in children, which leads to more positive relationships with peers in adolescence, which may further strengthen the self-esteem of emerging adults and so on into later adulthood. However, the field is still in need of an integrated theory that can explain whether relationships have such a cumulative effect across life, or whether certain relationships become particularly important at certain ages. When self-esteem or quality of social relationships is low, it can negatively affect the other factor and set off a downward spiral, making clinical interventions especially important to offset this potentially adverse development. The fact that the effect did not differ significantly among studies with different sample characteristics strengthens confidence in the robustness of the findings. There were a limited number of longitudinal studies on self-esteem and specific relationships in adulthood as well as studies using measures other than self-report, so the findings can only begin to speak to these groups, and future work needs to be done towards filling these gaps. Okay. I hope you found that interesting. If you did, let me know by giving me an up thumb, and maybe consider joining my community by subscribing to this channel. And of course hit the notification bell so that you don't miss anything